The beginning of the cosmic rift. In the beginning there was an infinite, undivided energy, a divine spark that was the source of all existence. This source, which can be seen as an impersonal and omnipresent force, contained the blueprint for all that would ever exist, and everything that came into being was imbued with this source. This divine spark, called the pleroma in Gnosticism, consisted of a collective harmony of beings known as angels or archangels, each representing an aspect of the divine. Among them was a powerful but ambitious entity known as Yahweh or Yaldabaoth, who developed a desire to create his own creation. In some versions of the story, he stole a fraction of the divine energy, the spark, and used it to create his own reality. This new reality was different from the pleroma. It was a closed system where Yahweh established himself as the only God. The new reality Yahweh created was physical and mortal. To establish his power, he shaped the world as we know it and created humanity as his subjects. Some Gnostic texts state that Yahweh made humans in his own image, but simultaneously limited them by trapping them in a physical body and withholding knowledge of their true nature and origin. According to these accounts, Yahweh was a jealous and vengeful God, fearful that humanity might discover the existence of a higher reality, that they actually originated from the divine spark and thus possessed the same potential as he did. Not all angels agreed with Yahweh's actions. Some were convinced he had made a fundamental mistake by imprisoning humanity in a physical reality and cutting them off from their divine origin. These angels, led by figures later known as fallen angels, sought to help humanity by bringing them knowledge of their true nature. According to certain interpretations, they attempted to awaken the spark within humans so they could escape the bondage of material existence. However, Yahweh punished these angels by banishing them from his new reality to a place that would later be called Hell. This parallels the story of Lucifer, the light bringer, who was cast out of heaven for rebelling against God. In some stories, Lucifer is seen as one of the angels who resisted Yahweh's tyranny. In this context, Lucifer is not necessarily the personification of evil, but rather a symbol of enlightenment and rebellion against injustice. His goal was to give humanity light, or knowledge of the original source, much like the mythological figure Prometheus, who stole fire to give to humans. In this version of the story, Lucifer tried to free humanity by offering them knowledge, a deed seen as an act of mercy. But Yahweh and his loyal angels viewed this as a grave act of betrayal. This led to a second great war in the heavens, where Yahweh reaffirmed his power and Lucifer and his followers were banished once more, this time permanently. In many Gnostic texts, the material world is regarded as a prison for the soul. The spark, the divine essence within humans, is trapped in the body and the world of forms. Yahweh and his angels maintain the illusion of separation, causing people to forget that they are of divine origin. Through fear, suffering, and mortality, they attempt to prevent humanity from discovering their true nature. Human souls are often reborn in the material world, trapped in a cycle of suffering and forgetfulness until they find the knowledge or gnosis needed to break the chains of matter and return to the source. Although Yahweh and his followers tried to hide the divine spark, there were always people who sought the truth behind the veil of the material world. This desire for knowledge, known as gnosis, was considered the path to salvation. Through meditation, introspection, and the practice of mystical traditions, individuals could transcend the limitations of the physical and awaken the divine spark within themselves. The true meaning of gnosis in this context is the inner enlightenment that allows one to see through the illusion of the material world and escape the control of Yahweh and his creation. It is a process of rediscovering who we truly are and restoring our connection with the divine. In this vision, the coming age of Aquarius plays a crucial role. Traditionally, the Aquarian age is associated with revelation, freedom, and a heightened awareness of humanity's collective consciousness. As we enter this new phase, a veil of ignorance and illusion maintained by the influence of the false god, Yahweh, will gradually be lifted. Humanity will awaken from centuries of spiritual captivity, becoming aware of their own power and true origin. As we transition into the Aquarian age, more people will realize that their true nature reaches far beyond what they were led to believe. They will recognize that the world presented to them is only a limited reality, one that keeps them trapped within old beliefs, fears, and inner programmings. They will see that these limitations held them in a system designed by Yahweh and his followers to control humanity and separate them from their divine spark. This realization will lead to a collective awakening as humanity seeks liberation and a deeper meaning. During this transitional period, individuals with supernatural gifts and spiritual and magical abilities will rise. These remarkable human beings, sometimes called enlightened guides, but also viewed as powerful sorcerers, will serve as examples and esoteric teachers for the rest of humanity. They possess insights into esoteric and occult systems that can raise consciousness and help humanity let go of limiting beliefs and programmings. Through the esoteric wisdom, techniques, and inner transformation they themselves have undergone, they will offer humanity a path to liberation, a way out of the chains of material illusion. The true path to freedom, as these sorcerers will reveal, requires a complete re-evaluation of the inner beliefs and conditionings one has built up. Those willing to leave behind familiar reality and discover their own inner power will be transformed. This transformation will bring not only personal liberation, but will also elevate the collective consciousness to a higher level, where evolution in spiritual and conscious growth becomes central. In this new reality, where Yahweh's grip and the limitations of the material system hold no power, love, compassion, and mutual respect will become the norm. People will feel united in their essence, realizing that they are all reflections of the same divine spark. The age of Aquarius will reconnect humanity with their original essence, enabling them to live from a higher consciousness, where the purpose is no longer individualism or control, but collective evolution, freedom, and spiritual harmony.